Hi everyone. I'm honored to present in front of you today Epoka Social Center and Department of Architecture building beside Epoka University in Tirana, Albania. Just right 2 years and a half after I first started to think about it. This project is a product of two studios, Zambak Architects, a studio with 20 years expertise in educational buildings, located in Istanbul, and Corda, a very young studio in Tirana. In 2010, when I was teaching at Epoka University, I decided to practice architecture and moved to Zambak Architecture. And 2 years later, when they were commissioned this project, they decided to assign it to me because I was familiar with the context. And after a 5 months period, the concept and the construction phase of the project finished. Independently, I decided to turn back and teach at Epoka University. So literally with a bunch of projects printed at the office, I landed at the airport, and the first station was the site, which had very newly being started to being constructed. At the same time, Epoka University, being the client, asked Zambak to design the interior of the building, since it was a building having a diverse program, including social center and a part of the academic units, the Department of Architecture. And Zambak suggested me to follow the project, since I had designed it and I was working already there. I enthusiastically accepted it, and I founded Corda at Epoka University, a center of research and design in architecture, whose main aim is to integrate graduates of architecture and students together with the professors in the real trade by practicing architecture. And that balcony there, it is the place of Corda at this building. This project is Corda's first and only so far completed project, including its own office. This presentation structure responds symbolically to this juxtaposition. While working with Zambak, the building reached a level of completion until the building scale. So the contextual and programmatic decisions were decided till that phase, but I might say that its full spirit of the building got completed after I was turned back and meeting the real academic needs and being close to the students. So this process is obviously one, and it is developed coherently. It was for sure a back and forth process, which in time we had to reinterpret it. Epoka University is for the moment the highest ranking university in Albania. It is the first university to build a campus of its own apart from the city, in a rural area, made of fields and very few urban settlements. Here you can get a clear idea of the virgin context, with the only landmark nearby the international airport. The campus area comprises approximately 50,000 square meters. Its construction started since 2009. And as you see, they had to deal with a tabula rasa and build everything from scratch. I will shortly explain the overall campus plan, since it is important to understand the project's first footprints. With a side of these proportions being very longitudinal and narrow, a standard grid-based layout of grouping the campus building would be like this, with very few enclosed public gathering spaces and with no reach perspectives. So they decided to build the campus according to a different type of a grid, which would permit them to have both the public areas and have different perspectives. So this is the site plan designed by Zambak Architects. There are only, together with our building, 3 buildings at all completed. There are 10 buildings which the first master plan include. Then we were asked to design the third and to host the social center and department of architecture. Because of the new additional program, at first it was thought as, I mean, you can see the first footprint. It was only for a social center, but then the needs of the university asked for the Department of Architecture to be included in this building, so the area increased from 4,500 square meters to 7,500, with about 3,000 serving only to architecture department. And this is the relationship with the first building which is built, the E building. And they both define the main promenade of the campus, which in fact it is the main public square of the whole campus. We believe that a project is basically the correlation of 3 cons: context, content, and concept. To give birth to an authentic concept, we made a detailed analysis of the context and the interpretation of the content. The first decisions were related to the context that I previously explained, and I will illustrate them with some of our diagrams. This is the complete axonometric view of the building and its orientation. Due to the building's longitudinal east-west orientation and the constraints presented by the campus site, the zoning is majorly grouped into 2. The south, in the south area, there are located spaces having stationary, private and introverted properties, while in the north there are located spaces having extroverted, being more close to public, and having circulationary properties. That was the ground floor, and this is the first floor. And this is an image of the building, where you can easily see the northern part being more transparent and the southern part being more introverted and having a more opaque presence. Thus, the program is distributed as such. In the southern part, having multifunctional areas, wet spaces, the offices, social center, which was an important unit for this building, having full transparency within it, but being a little opaque to the south. Healthcare units, with the northern part being having the canteen, the exhibition area, and the full circulationary spaces. The same logic follows in the first ground, where we have the long, in the red volume, we have the architectural studios, which act as a unique space in order to emphasize the interrelation and the interrelation between generations. There are positioned the 4 studios. They happen at the same time. The wet spaces, the offices, academic offices, an entrance to the conference hall. On the north, there are the classrooms which face the university. So there are spaces as well serving to the whole university. And the exhibition and the circulationary area and the main gallery area, which is right in the middle. And the library facing east. This shows closer the northern facade and the southern one. In the second floor, there are located a lobby to the conference hall, other offices, and Corda, which is our office. And in this section, in brown, it is shown the flow of the circulationary area, which composes an important part of the whole project, since in architectural department, exhibition areas are really important. Okay. Instead of going on explaining the interior qualities of the building, it is important to stop the logic of presenting it so far and become aware of its real content. A content, in fact, not as a functional program, but a content in terms of occupancy, rather than having the type of function that dictate the treatment of the architectural elements, what would make an office or what would make a classroom, a studio, etc. We did not limit ourselves in designing them knowing that they would be occupied by architectural students, professors, architectural events. Building for architectural students is a huge responsibility, but having the academic background and the practice expertise made us come with an idea. We wanted to make a building that would be a part of the curriculum. We wanted to make a curriculum, in fact, being built. And by curriculum, for sure, we wanted that the building and the project to be a tool for the architectural students to learn from it directly. We wanted to show them all the types of the systems, engineering systems, the components that make a building, and most importantly, the experience that each of these components have and transmits due to each different event. Now, a building volume is defined by planes that makes floors, walls, and ceilings. And our aim was to emphasize them as separate elements while working together, creating spaces with different qualities. Here are 3 illustrations of materials applied in floors, and we called them, each of them adding an ing, making them from floors to flooring, because we believe that by manipulating with the use of these materials, all these types of architectural elements could enrich the perception of the space, and what was more important, the perception of the users, which were our students. This was a pattern that we made from marble, and this is the application, and this is how it is, its effect in the main gallery. It is, in fact, a scene pattern, maybe, but what we wanted from here was to extract the 3-dimensionality out of the 2-dimensional surfaces. We have realized that I have taught basic design studio, and one of the most important things, or one of the most challenging pedagogical approaches to the students is to really get from their minds the 3-dimensional idea and make them illustrate in a 2-dimensional medium. So we wanted to make this process in inverse, trying to increase the 3-dimensional perception out of 2-dimensional architectural elements that we had, as floors, ceilings, and walls. This is another pattern of marble. This is out of tiles in canteen. And we had our applications for the walls. We call them bricking. These are bricks walls used in the academic offices. The drawing shows that, in fact, by only bricks you can show a two-dimensional surface. But with a good arrangement, or by shifting them, by using the same unit, you can arrange a three-dimensional, in fact, wall. And by the way, this was one of ideas of one of our graduates, being part of Corda. This is a wall defining the main gallery, and we call that the expo wall. On the other part, it has the classroom. But by shifting very few of the same walls, and by leaving it as it is, as a brick is, we tried to create a surface where different types of drawings can be exhibited. And on different surfaces, we try to make different combinations of concrete and wood. And here it is how the sun reflects to some of these parts of the walls and with the marbles. This is the second, that was the second bricking, and we had another bricking typology used. This was made of the same bricks. In fact, that was a kind of a message that we wanted to give. It was not a matter of using the cheapest material, not because the budget was very, very high, but it was a message that with this very basic unit that almost 90% of the buildings in Albania are constructed, you can understand its physical property, and maybe you can understand how to make compositions out of it. We wanted a kind of porosity in the place where this type of wall was used, because it was between the architectural studios and the circulation space, so we wanted always this transparency, and acoustics was not a matter, we believed, for that place, and we're experiencing it. It is not. This is from construction period, the whole space of the studios, and this is how it functions today. And we tried to achieve similar effects by the very basic materials that we had in hand, by glasses, type of Mondrian divisions, and combinations of the effects of colors with the glazing. This is the social center unit where everything is transparent. This is an image from the north looking through the building to the south. And we try to make similar applications with the ceiling, because at a certain point the client said, okay, we are using all these materials, but we want a little bit of cleanness. We want very pure spaces as well. So please use gypsum. Why don't you use that? Okay, then we try to give the same message of this porosity by using gypsum. Our main concern was to have every material being understood with its own properties, without being kind of faked. And by showing its relation not only as a material and a space, but transmitting the other systems that make a building off. So in certain parts of ceilings, there are all these kinds of infrastructure that we see, like in this building or in other buildings, but we intentionally wanted them to be shown from different views. When you are, in fact, you are looking from a kind of perspective to this ceiling, you do not see what it is on top of that. But if you are curious, which for an architecture student you have to be curious, you go just at the bottom of one of those holes and you see what's a building is made of. What are the hidden things of a building? And we applied it in different places. This is in the library of the building. And for a more kind of prestige space, they wanted us to use wood. So by using very simple units, we tried to transmit the same message. These are views from the canteen. And at certain parts, there were these horizontal electrical systems that they definitely didn't want us to let us show like they were. So we kind of use these aluminum panels where at the left, right, for an architecture student, you really show what they cover, but if you are not curious, you cannot realize what it is behind them. As architectural components, staircases or the elements which connected two different floors were important for us, and we really wanted them to be shown, why not in a sculptural way. And this is an idea of our professors, and I liked very much this view, because it really shows the three-dimensionality of a staircase. This is one of the exterior staircases. And the railings which join this sincerity of the materials. And this is a picture where, from the main gallery, showing how all these materials come together and how in some reflections they might create instances of reflections, but in some others they might create instances for reflections. Thank you very much.